Hello and welcome to this week's Women's Football Chat, where I look at everything that's been going on, specifically in the third and fourth tiers of women's football here in England. That's the FA Women's National League. I'm here every Tuesday at 6 p.m. bringing you the very latest. And my, are we getting down to the real business end of the season. Some teams have already finished their season. Some have got 1 or 2 games to go and some have still got 6 or 7. That's the nature of the FA Women's National League. We're going to look at all 6 divisions. We're going to look at the results. We're going to look at the tables. We're going to look at the fixtures coming up. And we're going to look at the run-ins as well. Analyse those in a bit more detail. I've actually made some more screens to make it a bit easier for you as well this week. So let's start, as we always do, with the Northern Premier Division. There was one game on Wednesday, a convincing victory for Huddersfield Town over AFC Fylde by 5 goals to 1. A hat-trick for Laura Elford and goals for Paige Crossman and Katie Stanley, giving Huddersfield Town a 5-1 victory. There's no information about Fylde's team on the system, but then we go to the weekend. Brighouse against Huddersfield Town, a late goal, 92nd minute goal for Rachel Brown, giving Forest the 3 points in that one. A convincing 7-0 victory for Burnley over Hull City, although Burnley haven't put the information on the full-time website yet either. Derby County 2-0 winners away at Fylde. Not a good week for Fylde. Derby's goals coming from Amy Sims in the 39th minute and Sophie Domingo in the 91st minute. Gave them a 2-0 win. Keeps them just about, as we'll see in a moment, in the hunt for the title. West Brom winning away at Sheffield by 2 goals to 0. A couple of goals for Shannon Stamps for West Brom. A good game down at Stoke City, a 4-2 victory over Loughborough Lightning. Goals for Stoke, first one coming to Elizabeth Steele in the 7th minute, putting them in front. That lasted only 7 minutes. Jessica Richardson equalising for Loughborough to make it 1-1. Loughborough then take the lead. Chloe Young, 21st minute, gave them a 2-1 lead. But 2 goals in 2 minutes for Rosine Cavell made it 3-2 to Stoke. And then Kelsey Richardson in the 88th minute put Stoke 2 goals ahead with only a couple of minutes to go. And that was that in that one. And then Wolves, a 2-1 victory over Huddersfield Town. 2 goals for Marie Gauntlet in the 21st and 61st minute. Lifted Wolves past Huddersfield, whose only goal came from Paige Crossman in the 35th minute. And that means if we have a look at the table, Wolves are leading the way by 6 points. They've got 4 games remaining. You'll also see I put the max on the side as well, just to help us see throughout the run in here what the possibilities are. So you can see there, Derby can get to 51 points. So they have to win their final 2 games, do Derby. Hope that Wolves lose the final 4 of theirs and overturn a 13-goal difference. Wolves, what I would be tempted to call now the champions-elect of the Northern Premier Division. They need 1 point from 4 games. They've got Sheffield at home this weekend, which I believe is where they're going to do it. Then a couple of games against Brighouse Town, the first of which is at Molineux on the 13th of April. That's next Wednesday. That's going to be a great occasion there at Molineux for Wolves. You would think they will have either sewn the division up by that game or will try their best to do it on that day. 2 home games here. They need 1 point from 4 games now to get the title. Forest lifting themselves above Huddersfield with the win at the weekend. Stoke City above Loughborough with that win as well. What you can see there down towards the bottom is there are still 6 teams that mathematically could go down. Now, I have included all of the teams that could go down. So Hull can only get to 18 points. But in theory, if they were to win all 4 of their games and results went their way, Loughborough Lightning lost their remaining 5 of their games and the goal difference worked, they could do it. So that's why it's kept in there. But Hull, realistically, No, they've got 6 points from 20 games. Are they going to get 12 points from their final 4? Probably not. Sheffield, a similar situation. They've got 7 points from their first 18 games. Are they going to get at least 12 from their final 6 games? Again, probably not. But they're included on there for the moment because they are not technically down, although Hull, you would feel, are all but assured down now. So that leaves us with West Brom, Stoke, Loughborough and Middlesbrough. Now, West Brom, I mean, they can only be caught by Middlesbrough, and that is only if Middlesbrough get their 10 points from the final 12 games. Sorry, from the final 4 games, 10 points from the possible 12 to finish their season off. So realistically, you're looking at Stoke, Loughborough and Middlesbrough. One of those 3 teams are likely to are going to be the ones that join Sheffield and Hull City in Tier 4 next season. So with that in mind, here is the run-in for those 3 teams between now and the end of the season. So you've got Middlesbrough, who are currently sitting in that relegation zone on 16 points, 4 games to play. Loughborough and Stoke just outside it. As you can see, Stoke have got 3 games to play. Loughborough 5, Middlesbrough 4. So if we have a look at this run-in, you've got Middlesbrough, who have got Forest at home, then West Bromwich Albion away, Sheffield away and Burnley away. So Forest are currently in 4th, West Brom are in 8th, Sheffield obviously below them in 12th, and Burnley in middle of the table in 6th. Now, you look at Forest, West Brom and Burnley, haven't really got anything to play for other than pride. Sheffield have got everything to play for. If you look at Loughborough, again, Burnley, Forest, Huddersfield, Fylde now can't get the title, and then Wolves on the last day, who by that point you would feel have wrapped the title up. Stoke have got Fylde, Hull and West Bromwich Albion. Hull you would think are going to be down by that point. West Bromwich Albion are going to have nothing to play for, and Fylde have already got nothing to play for. So it is there for the taking for these teams. You look at that running, you think who is most likely to get points from that? You look at Middlesbrough. I mean, this is entirely my opinion here. I think Forest would beat Middlesbrough. I think West Brom, let's say a draw. Sheffield, I think Middlesbrough should win. That's 4, and Burnley could be a draw as well. I'm not convinced that Middlesbrough would take points away from some of those sides, but they might do. This is entirely hypothetical. So you're looking at, let's say, 7 points, 7 maybe. Well, if you take a win against Sheffield, 6 points, win against Sheffield, and let's say draw against everybody else, that puts them on 22. So then you're looking at Loughborough, who, I think Loughborough have got the hardest running of those 3. And that's purely on the basis that you would think Stoke are going to beat Hull and Middlesbrough are going to beat Sheffield. So that's 3 points each for both of those. So that puts Middlesbrough on 19. That puts Stoke on 22. And then you feel maybe Loughborough are going to be the ones that could get dragged into it. The advantage Loughborough have got is that they are playing an extra game. The Middlesbrough 2 extra games than Stoke. But I'll be interested to see, leave them in the comments down below, which of these 3 sides you believe will take that final relegation spot. As we've said, we're going to kind of assign Hull and Sheffield 2 of those 3 spots. Now, if things change rapidly week to week and a different side gets dragged into it, I'll change this graphic for the sides that get pulled into it. But this is what I believe at the moment. One of these 3 sides will take that final spot. So be interested to see, leave them in the comments down below or on Twitter, who you think is going to take that final spot. Let's move through then into the Southern Premier Division with their results. There was 2 results in midweek and a significant week for Southampton. They beat Crawley Wasps by 3-0 on Wednesday. Goals coming to Alicia Ware, Sophia Farrow and Georgie Freeland, giving them a 3-0 victory. And Bridgewater United beating Cardiff City by 4-1. 2 for Jenna Markham, 1 for Nikki Potts and Misha Dudley-Jones, cancelling out Ellie Sargent's 11th minute goal for Cardiff City. Then at the weekend, a good week for Bridgewater United, a 1-0 victory over London Bees. Amy Goddard with their goal there. A convincing victory for Chichester and Chelsea against Hounslow. A hat-trick for Gemma Simmons, 12th, 16th, 28th minute. 2 for Amelia Hammond in the 27th and the 91st minute. Nikki Lake in the 25th minute also getting one, as well as an own goal from Hounslow. Their goal coming to Kayla Potter, giving them their one and only goal of the game. But a convincing victory for Chichester and Chelsea. Let's look at Ipswich against Southampton. We said last week this was going to be the crucial game this weekend, and it's Southampton that came out on top. 2 relatively quick fire goals as well in that one. Lucia Kendall, 51st minute, and Ella Pusey in the 55th minute, giving Southampton the 2-1 victory. A penalty to Paige Peake, the goal for Ipswich Town in that one. But Southampton getting a crucial 3 points against the side they're trying to catch, and we'll see what that means for the table in a moment. Oxford United, a convincing 9-0 victory against Keynsham Town. A hat-trick for Carly Johns, 11th, 44th, 78th minute. 2 for Beth Lumsden, 8 minutes apart in the 50th and the 58th. Daisy McLaughlin in the 26th and Lily Stevens in the 15th. Cheryl Williams in the 87th minute, rounding it out. MK Dons, a 3-0 victory over Portsmouth. An important one for MK Dons as well, as we'll see later. Cheryl Albert, Tally Miles and Nicole Pepper getting MK Dons' goals. And then a 7-goal thriller at Plymouth Argyle. Their goals, Natasha Knapman in the 2nd minute. Then there was a goal for Zoe Cunningham from the penalty spot in the 74th minute and in the 50th minute as well. No information yet about the Crawley goals, but they come out the victors by 4-3. Well, that means in the table, Crawley go above Portsmouth. MK Dons climb a couple of places out of the relegation zone. We'll look at the bottom in a moment, but let's have a look at the top, because Southampton now, with that victory over Ipswich, are just a point behind them with 2 games in hand. Now, you'll see that 4 teams mathematically are still capable of winning the Southern Premier Division. But Bridgewater United would rely on winning all their remaining 4 games, and Ipswich and Southampton losing all of their 4 games as well, because Bridgewater United can only get to 55 and Ipswich are already on 54. Now, Bridgewater United have got Oxford, Portsmouth, Plymouth and Hounslow. You would think Portsmouth, Plymouth and Hounslow they could win. The Oxford game might be tough, and Oxford are still technically in there as well because they've got that game in hand over Ipswich, so don't discount Oxford either. Let's have a look at the bottom then, because any 3 of 7 could still technically go down. Chichester and Chelsea had that big win this weekend. Keynsham, Cardiff City have now dropped into the bottom 4, and they have that points deduction as well. Plymouth have climbed out of it, but it was that 3-0 victory for MK Dons over Portsmouth that's really lifted them up as well. 26 games to play on this one, don't forget. So if you look at that, you can see that Chichester and Chelsea, they're 7 points away at the moment with 12 to play for. So they could get to 29, but you almost feel as though they're just coming a bit too far back again. Keynsham Town, they're 6 points back with only 9 possible. Now, so they'd have to win all of their games. If we have a look at Keynsham Town, the reason you'll see on the next screen that I haven't put them on this graphic is they've got Gillingham away and they've got Southampton. Now, and also when you look at Keynsham Town's goal difference at -67, that is effectively another point against them. So they would need to get 7 points from 9 available to get out of the bottom 4 and hope that all the other results go their way. And the fact that they're facing Gillingham and Southampton, I can't see them winning both of those games and getting a draw in one of those games and winning the other with the best will in the world. So I think the writing might be on the wall for Keynsham, and I think Chichester and Chelsea might be coming from a bit too far back. particularly when they also have to face Ipswich. So you're looking at maybe 9 points. They've got Portsmouth, who are in the mid-table. They've got Hounslow, which they should win. And then they've got Crawley Wasps as well. So they've got 2 mid-table teams and the already relegated Hounslow. So it's not impossible for Chichester and Chelsea to get 9 points and get themselves to 26. But then you're relying on MK Dons, Plymouth, Cardiff not winning for the rest of the season. So what I've done then is put on here, this is at the top, I should say that first. This is the run-in for the teams at the top of the table. So Ipswich on 54, Southampton on 53 and Oxford on 50. Now, what you'll notice there down towards the bottom is that Oxford have got to go away to Ipswich and to Southampton as well. But you have a look at these run-ins. So this weekend, Ipswich have got Chichester and Chelsea who are second bottom, and Southampton have got Hounslow who are bottom. You think they'd win both of those games. Then the games in hand come for Southampton. So they've got Keynsham who are 12th on the 14th. So that's where they could go back to the top of the table. But don't forget Oxford there have got Hounslow on the 13th as well away. So Oxford, you'd think we're going to pick up 3 points from that one. Then next Sunday, it's the London Bees who are in 8th, Plymouth who are in 10th. Then Southampton have got that other game in hand, which is Portsmouth on the 20th. Then they've both got to play Oxford. And then Southampton have got Cardiff, who are currently 11th. Ipswich have got Portsmouth, who are currently 7th. Now, to me, and in my opinion, and again, would love to know what you all think on Twitter in the comments below, I think Southampton have got the better run in. They've got to play the team in 14th, 12th, 11th and 10th. They've got to play 4 of the bottom 5 sides in their final 6 games of the season. Whereas Ipswich have got, yes, they've got the 13th place side, but then they've got the 8th, the 3rd and the 7th. And I think those games in hand might just be what gives it to Southampton. Oxford United can still mathematically do it, but when you look at the fact that they've got to face Bridgewater, who are 4th, Ipswich, who are 1st, Southampton, who are 2nd, and Gillingham, who are 5th, Oxford have got to play the other 4 of the top 5. And yes, okay, that includes Ipswich and Southampton, but I think that's a big ask for Oxford, but they're certainly not out of it. I think a lot of it will depend on this Bridgewater game on Sunday afternoon. If they were to lose that to Bridgewater and fall, you would look 6 and 7 points back when they've still got to play the top 2 and Gillingham. Of course, it could still be in their hands playing those top 2, but I think with Southampton's extra game in hand and given the teams they've got to play, I would edge in favour of Southampton at the moment. Now, let's look at the bottom because there are far fewer games for some of these teams to play at the bottom. As I said, I think that Keynsham and Chichester and Chelsea are going to be coming from too far back. So let's have a look at those 3 teams that you feel were going to take that final spot. So Cardiff, they've got Crawley, who are in 6th, Gillingham away in 5th, and Southampton away in 2nd. That's tough for the Welsh side. MK Dons have got Portsmouth at home this weekend. Don't forget they just beat Portsmouth by 3-0 last weekend. And this time it's at home. They'll be full of confidence because it is possible that they get themselves to 29 points and all but assure their safety this weekend. With Cardiff not playing, for Cardiff to then have to get at least 6 points from those 3 games. So winning 2 of those games, or winning 2 draws won't be enough. They've got to win 2 of those games. And it's Gillingham and Southampton both away from home. It looks very difficult for the Welsh side if MK Dons are to get that win against Portsmouth. Now, Plymouth are the side who are probably in the best position in terms of games played at the moment because they have so many to go. However, yes, there is that game against Hounslow, which you'd think they would win and put them on 27. Crawley away is going to be difficult. Southampton away is going to be extremely tough. Bridgewater at home will still be difficult. And then London on the last day. Do I think Plymouth will do it? I kind of do because of the Hounslow game. I think it could be very difficult, potentially, for Cardiff. My gut instinct is that Cardiff might well be that fourth team because of the teams they've got to face. A lot hinges on that Crawley game on the 17th for me. But again, interested to see what you guys think. Right, Division 1 North then. Let's move into Tier 4. So then on Thursday, a big win for Chorley. A 5-1 victory over Bradford City. There's that game. Goals then coming to Chorley in the 9th minute, Katie Matthews. It was then 1-1. Hope Knight getting the only goal of the game for Bradford. Hat-trick for Emma Hickson and then a goal for Jessica Gillen as well made it 5-1 to Chorley. Alnwick Town 2, Chorley 3, a 6-point week for Chorley. Goals in that one to Alnwick coming to Jessica Morrison in the 20th minute and Lucy McConnell in the 35th minute. They actually went into that game 2-0 up at half-time. Chorley then 49th minute Jessica Gillen, 70th minute Laura Walker and 94th minute Katie Matthews. Finished off the comeback and Chorley got a 6-point week. Bradford City 1, Stockport County 1. Goal for Bradford coming to Charlotte Stewart. No information about Stockport. Barnsley 3, Durham Sestra 0. Jodie McAlsher in the 9th minute. Rosie Woodhams in the 44th and Emily Pierpont in the 51st minute for Barnsley. Norton Stockton Ancients 2, Leeds United 0. Goals in that one. Bianca Owens in the 60th minute and Chloe West in the 85th minute, giving the 2-0 victory to Norton and Stockton Ancients. And then the big game in Division 1 North was Newcastle against Liverpool Feds. We spoke last week again about how this could bring that wide open. As it happened, a 1-1 draw. Bethany Donahue, 17th minute for Liverpool Feds. Katie Barker, the goal for Newcastle. This means that everything kind of stayed the same at the top. Let's have a look at that table. And you'll see that the only movement is Barnsley towards the bottom, who with that 3-0 victory over Durham Sestra lifts themselves out of the bottom three again. Now, it's a 2-horse race at the top. That gap stays at 4 points. Newcastle United missed the opportunity to eliminate the advantage that Liverpool Feds had from their 2 games in hand. So Liverpool Feds 2 games in hand. They are 4 points back. They have the opportunity, as you can see from the max column there, to win the league by 2 points if they were to win all their games remaining. Down towards the bottom, nobody technically relegated yet, and anyone mathematically of 8 teams could go down. However, again, we'll put a caveat on that Chorley, after that convincing victory, they're on 29 points at the moment. Now, 2 teams, Chester Street Town and Alnwick Town, can't catch them. Barnsley and FC United and Manchester can if they win all their games and Chorley lose all their games. But again, you've got to look at the goal difference. So Chorley are mathematically, it's still possible, but realistically, I don't think it is. And with 4 games to go and a 7-point gap to Stockton, Norton Stockton Ancients and Stockport County, you could probably eliminate both of those as well. And I think you'll see from the run-ins that that's kind of what I've done there as well. Bradford City, even Bradford City 5 points clear with 4 games to go. Particularly when you look at Bradford City's run-in as well. They've got Liverpool Feds, which is going to be a tough one. Durham Sestra, but we've seen that Barnsley have beaten Durham Sestra this week. Then we've got Norton Stockton Ancients, they're the team right above them. And Alnwick Town to finish the season off. I think, in my opinion, again, Bradford City will just get enough points to get themselves over the line. Alnwick Town, they've got 2 points from 16 games. Are they suddenly going to get 18 points from their remaining 6 games to get themselves in contention? I don't think so. Chester Street Town have got 3 games to play and they're coming from 6 points back. It's difficult for them as well. But let's have a look at the run-ins in North 1. We're going to start at the top, where Newcastle 50 points, Liverpool Feds 46. They're both playing this weekend. Chorley away for Newcastle, who are in 5th. Liverpool Feds have Bradford, who are in 8th. Then Newcastle play Alnwick on Tuesday. Now, you think they're going to win that one as well, and that'll extend the gap to 7 points. But they then don't play for 3 weeks, while Liverpool Feds play their games in hand. Norton Stockton Ancients currently 7th. Chorley are currently in 5th. And Leeds are currently in 3rd. So they're not all easy games for Liverpool Feds. Then they finish the season off on the 1st of May. Barnsley at home for Newcastle, who are in 9th. FC United and Manchester for Liverpool Feds, who are in 10th. So both playing sides that could be battling to stay in the division as well. Let's look at the bottom. And you'll see I've put Barnsley, FC United, Manchester and Chester Street Town on this graphic so far. I think it's going to be 2 of these 3 teams that fill the relegation zone. I'll be honest, I think Chester are going to be one of them. They are 6 points back, but with their goal difference, I mean, it could work in their favour. With their goal difference over Barnsley being -27 to Barnsley's -7. And don't forget, Chester Street Town would have to beat both of these sides. So they'd have to win, get 7 points or 6 points and a lot of goals. It feels like they need 7 points because of their inferior goal difference. So they've got to get something from each of these games. Now, Barnsley are playing Chester this weekend, as you can see on there. Now, a victory for Barnsley would relegate Chester Street Town. In fact, a point in that game, a draw in that game, would all but relegate Chester Street Town unless they can find two 10-goal victories over Leeds and Alnwick. Now, Alnwick, I think Chester Street Town could win. Leeds, I'm struggling to see Chester Street Town winning that game on paper. So I think Chester Street Town are going to fill that second spot. And then I think it's between Barnsley and FC United and Manchester. Now, we look at these games. We've seen that those final fixtures, Newcastle, Liverpool, Feds. FC United and Manchester have also got Leeds, who are in 3rd. Chorley are in 5th. Norton, Stockton, Ancients are in 7th. Barnsley have got Chester, who are in 11th. Alnwick, who are in 12th. Stockport, who are in 6th. The run-in seems to favour Barnsley, because of facing Chester Street Town in 11th and Alnwick Town in 12th against FC United of Manchester's 7th, 5th, 3rd and 1st. And you've got 12th, 11th, 6th and... 1st. Yeah. So the running seems to favour Barnsley. So I feel it's going to be FC United of Manchester and Chester Street Town. Could be wrong, of course. This is just entirely prediction looking at teams on paper. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Barnsley might just get over the line. I think Bradford, being 5 points clear, are just going to be a bit too far away, particularly when you look at some of the games that these teams have got to play. That's my thinking in Division 1. Anyway, let's go through into the Division 1 Midlands, where results. Doncaster Rovers Bells needing to beat Biddeford United to stand a chance of staying in the title race in the Division 1 Midlands. Have done that by 3 goals to 2. 2 goals for Jasmine Saxton and 1 for Sophie Scargill, lifting them above Biddeford, who haven't put any information on the league website yet. Leek Town 4, Burton Albion 0. Goals for Leek Town. Katie Gibbons, 26th minute. Naomi Sale Hancock, 40th minute. Katie Meyer in the 56th minute. There was also an opposition own goal in there in the 54th minute to give it a convincing victory for Leek Town. Lincoln City 6, Leafield Athletic 1. Goals in this one. A first minute goal for Talita Chase. Gave Leafield Athletic the lead. Lincoln answered right back with Leah Hardy in the 2nd minute and then turned the screw somewhat. 51st minute, Leah Hardy again. Tony McHamilton, 56th minute. Amy Kay, 66th minute. Rachel Howes, 79th minute. And there should be another goal in there as well. It doesn't seem to be on the system. But a 6-1 victory for Lincoln City. Long Eaton United winning 2-0 away at Sporting Council, but there's no information about that on the website yet. And Peterborough United winning by 5 goals to 0 away at Wem Town. Goals coming to Beatrice Borg-Arnold in the 35th minute, Keir Perkins in the 45th minute plus added time made it 2-0. And then late goals. 2 for Stacey McConville in the 85th and 89th minute and 1 for Hannah Pendred in the 90th minute made it a very convincing 5-0 victory. For the table then, 2-horse race at the top. Boldmere St Michael's with 1 game to go. Need just a point from that final game. Doncaster Rovers Bells need to win both of their final games and hope that Boldmere St Michael's lose their last game. And it is a case of winning both of the games, and they've got to win them big as well, because they are 8 goals behind. So a couple of 1-goal victories, as they had against Bideford United, won't do it for Doncaster Rovers Bells. They've got to go away to Long Eaton United, who are there in 4th, and away to Solihull Moors, who are in 6th. So one hand and several fingers on the trophy for Boldmere St Michael's already, you feel, who go away to Leafield Athletic on the 24th of April. So Doncaster Rovers Bells, they will be playing this weekend away at Long Eaton United. Then Boldmere St Michael's play Leafield on the 24th. And then Doncaster Rovers Bells play Solihull Moors on the 1st of May. So either Boldmere St Michael's will win it this weekend, having not kicked a ball, win it when they face Leafield Athletic by getting a point, or if that doesn't happen either, knowing going into the last game of the season that Doncaster Rovers Bells need to win by 4, 5 goals, whatever it might be, against Solihull Moors to take the title away from them. Towards the bottom, Bideford United, we know, already down. Burton Albion, Wem Town, Leafield Athletic and Sporting Cows are the only teams that could technically still go down. But one of those teams is going to be Wem Town against Burton Albion. Let's have a look at the run-in, and you'll see that over the next 2 weekends, Wem Town, Burton Albion away, Burton Albion at home. Those two sides are playing each other twice over the next 2 weeks. Now, if Burton Albion, so if Wem Town are to win both of those games, Burton Albion are down. If Burton Albion win both of those games and Wem Town are 5 points away from safety with 2 games to play, they're not definitely down, but that's of course assuming that Leafield Athletic don't pick up anything from their games against Peterborough, who are 7th, Long Eaton, who are 4th, and Sporting Cows, who are 8th. And you feel they might do that. And then you've got Leafield Athletic, who've got Boldmere St Michael's, the league leaders, as we've spoken about earlier. Wem Town have got Bideford as well, and then Lincoln, and Burton have got Lincoln and then Leafield. So I think it's going to be one of Wem Town and Burton. I mean, they are coming from a long way back. You know, Burton Albion, with 4 games to go, are already 7 points away from safety. Now, of course, they could draw both of those games, but that's no good to either of them, really. So they've really got to go for it over the next couple of weeks. My gut instinct, Wem Town and Burton Albion will be relegated from the Division 1 Midlands. So let's then look at Division 1 South East. It was a busy, busy week in the Division 1 South East. Wimbledon 2, Actonians 0, Cambridge United 0, Stevenage 0, Enfield Town 1, Queen's Park Rangers 1, and Kent Football United 0, London Seaward 2 on Wednesday. Let's have a look at those first of all. Wimbledon's goals coming, and again, thank you to Sophia from Wimbledon for giving me the information on this one. 2 goals to Wimbledon from Actonians, 2 late goals. Ashley Hinks, her 36th and 37th of the season for AFC Wimbledon. Obviously, no goals between Cambridge United and Stevenage. Enfield Town 1, Queen's Park Rangers 1. Ellen Wardlaw in the 53rd minute opening the scoring for Queen's Park Rangers. A 94th minute equaliser for Enfield Town gave them a point that could prove valuable. We'll have a look at that in a moment as well. Kent Football United 0, London Seaward 2. Georgia Brasselli and Catherine Long getting the goals for London Seaward. Then let's move through to the weekend then. Billericay Town 4, Queen's Park Rangers 1. Billericay Town lineup not announced yet. Queen's Park Rangers, Ellie Seal getting their only goal. Cambridge City 1, Norwich City 2. An important win for Norwich City as well. Hannah Bodley getting the goal for Cambridge City. Chardonnay Johnston and Megan Todd for Norwich City. Cambridge United 0, Wimbledon 3. Ashley Hinks, Steph Mann and Megan Stowe getting the goals for Wimbledon. Enfield Town 0, #United 1. Just a 1-0 victory for #United, but not no information on the website as of yet. And Stevenage winning by a goal to 0 away at Kent Football United. Lucy Webster with the goal. In the table then, Norwich City going above Enfield Town in the relegation zone. Hashtag United season is finished. Billericay Town have got 2 games to play. They have to win them both to take the title. It's Cambridge City away this weekend and then London Seaward at home on the 1st of May. So my prediction is that they will beat Cambridge City and then we'll have a long wait until the 1st of May to see if they can take the title away from Hashtag United and if they will be the team in the Southern Premier next season. Right, down towards the bottom then, let's have a look at this. I haven't done a running graphic for this because we're talking 1 or 2 games left for these teams. So it's not really much of a run-in, it's just what game they have left. Kent Football United, we know, already down. Harlow Town can only get to 23 points, but their goal difference is minus 39. So they, I feel, are all but down, and they have to face Wimbledon this weekend. I feel that Wimbledon will beat Harlow Town, and then they will be relegated. Stevenage have just 1 game to go. They played Queen's Park Rangers, not this weekend, but next. Enfield Town have 1 game to go. They face Kent Football United, but it's not until the last day of the season on the 1st of May. So all these games are going to be coming. There's not one big weekend where all these games are played. They're all staggered. And some teams might be relegated before others have played their final game. But Enfield Town have got Kent Football United on the last day of the season. Stevenage have got to face QPR before then. Harlow Town, I feel, are already down. In my view, it's between Cambridge City, Norwich City and Enfield Town. I think Enfield Town will get 3 points against Kent Football United because they've got so much to play for. Norwich City, AFC Wimbledon, that's going to be so difficult for them, and Queen's Park Rangers on the final day. Now, they could be safe by that point. They could really need a win. And Cambridge City, who are probably in the best place because they've got 3 games to play. They've got Billericay Town, who obviously need to win to try and win the league. Cambridge United in the Cambridge Derby. That's going to be a close game as well. And then Actonians in 4th. So it's not a given that Cambridge City will survive, because if Enfield Town get to 24 points, Norwich City managed to pick up some points in there as well. Cambridge City still need to win these crucial games, or some of these crucial games, for them to stay in the division. So it's very close at the bottom. We'll be looking at it with great interest this weekend. Division 1 Southwest, then this one should be quite quick to go through because there's only 3 games played on Wednesday. Exeter City beating Larkhall Athletic by 2-0, meaning that they stayed in the title race. 2 goals from Molly Taylor, 44th and 50th minute, gave them the 3 points they desperately needed. But then at the weekend, Cheltenham Town beating them by 3-1. Charlotte Criddle, Courtney Jones and Lacey J. Liggett, 3 goals in the first quarter of an hour. Exeter City getting one back through Sarah Stacey 5 minutes before half-time. But Exeter City now out of the title race in the Division 1 Southwest. One other game to talk about, Southampton women against Chesham United. Southampton women 3-1 winners. 41st minute to Kira Heslem, 48th minute to Emily Wernham, and then 84th minute to Kira Heslem again. That made it 3-0. Rebecca Blore getting a goal for Chesham United as well. 3-1 the final score. And what that means, if you look at the table, is that Southampton women, almost from nowhere, have snuck themselves in here and are still in with a shout at the title. I'll go into that in more detail in a moment, but they climbed 2 places this weekend above Exeter City and Chesham, who are now out of title race. Obviously, there's nothing down at the bottom because Poole Town relegated a couple of weeks ago. Here's the run-in then. Cheltenham, 42 points. Bournemouth, 37 points. And Southampton women, 27 points. You look at that and you think, well, Southampton women, they're coming from 15 points back. They're not going to do that. But they've got 5 games to play and everybody else hasn't. Now, let's have a look then first at this weekend. Bournemouth with Chesham at home. Now, Bournemouth have to win both of these games. Chesham at home, Exeter away, to stand a chance of taking the title. In fact, if they do that, then Southampton women can't get the title anymore. But Chesham could really spoil the party because they've got Bournemouth this weekend, then Cheltenham next weekend. Now, if they beat Bournemouth, or in fact, if they just hold Bournemouth to a draw, Bournemouth are out of it, it's then a 2-horse race. It's also relying on Southampton women to win every single game. Swindon are 7th, Portishead 8th, Poole Town bottom, Larkhall 9th, Exeter 4th. Southampton women have got to play the bottom 4 sides and then Exeter on the final day. Now, of course, it could be that we get to that point and it doesn't matter because Cheltenham have got the point or 3 points or whatever it is they need, not this weekend, next weekend against Chesham, and then those 3 games for Southampton women are essentially null and void in terms of having any meaning. But if Chesham beat Cheltenham and they take something from Bournemouth and 42 points is the target, and Southampton women come in and they go, well, we've got the bottom 4 teams and then Exeter, or it will be the bottom 2 teams at that point and then Exeter. That's something for them to play for. Now, yes, they can only tie with Cheltenham. So let's have a look at one more feature, which is the goal difference. Let's go back to the goal difference table at the moment. Cheltenham Town have a goal difference of 30. Southampton women have a goal difference of 23. That's a 7-goal difference. Now, of course, all this relies on Cheltenham losing. So that's at least by 1 goal. That puts them down to 29. Southampton women have got to win all their games, which is at least a 1-0 victory or a 1-goal victory. That's an extra 5. That puts them on 28. Then the goal difference is 28 against 29. So it only takes a 2-goal, a 3-goal victory for Southampton somewhere. And all of a sudden, they've got a better goal difference than Cheltenham and they could tie them on points and they could win the division. It is completely out of their hands and Southampton are relying heavily on Chesham, who, of course, they've just beaten, heavily on Chesham to do them a favour and beat Cheltenham, because the draw's not good enough against Cheltenham. They have to beat Cheltenham and take points away from Bournemouth. And it could still be there for Southampton, who have slipped under the radar and have come in this home stretch and could, it'd be very exciting if they did come from that far back late in the season, they could take the title. Of course, it's in Cheltenham's hands. They just need 1 point from their game against Chesham. Bournemouth could be out of it this weekend. We'll have to wait and see. Let's have a look then at the fixtures coming up this weekend. We covered some of them in the run-ins, but let's have a look at them in more detail. So in the Northern Premier Division, Fylde against Stoke, 3rd against 9th. Hull against Huddersfield, 13th against 5th. Loughborough Lightning take on Burnley, that's 10th against 6th. Middlesbrough against Nottingham Forest, that's 11th against 4th. West Bromwich Albion against Brighouse Town is 8th against 7th. And Wolves against Sheffield. Wolves, don't forget, needing just a point. Particularly with Derby not playing, just a point at home to Sheffield to take the title. Bit busier in the Southern Premier Division. 2 weak fixtures here. Chichester and Chelsea Portsmouth and Crawley Wasps Hounslow. Bridgewater United against Oxford United is 4th against 3rd at the top. Then you've got Crawley against Plymouth Argyle. That is 6th against 10th. Gillingham against Keynsham is 5th against 12th. Ipswich Town take on Chichester and Chelsea. That's 1st against 13th. MK Dons Portsmouth in a repeat of last week's fixture. It's another important one for MK Dons to try and secure their survival. And Southampton against Hounslow. You feel Southampton are going to win that game. Division 1 Midlands, just 4 games to play this weekend. Burton Albion against Wem Town, the first of that really important doubleheader that we've spoken about. Leaford Athletic against Peterborough is 9th against 7th. Long Eaton United against Doncaster Rovers Bells, 4th against 2nd. Don't forget, Doncaster Rovers Bells have to win that game. Otherwise, Bournemouth St Michael's are the champions. Sporting Council against Solihull Moors, 8th against 6th. In the Division 1 North, Bradford City against Liverpool Feds is 8th against 2nd. Chester Street Town take on Barnsley. That's 11th against 9th. Chorley against Newcastle United is 5th against top of the table. FC United Manchester against Norton Stockton Ancients, 10th against 7th. And Leeds United Alnwick Town, 3rd against 12th. Of course, Chester Street Town, if they lose to Barnsley, are relegated. Alnwick Town are all but relegated already. So, again, it could be a very important weekend. I would suspect we might see a few more R's coming up against teams this weekend, but I would definitely suspect to see a C going against a couple of teams as well. Division 1 South East, just 3 games. AFC Wimbledon against Harlow Town. Cambridge City against Billericay Town and Queen's Park Rangers against Kent Football United. Billericay Town have to win to have a chance of still getting the title. Wimbledon can relegate Harlow with a victory over them. And Queen's Park Rangers against Kent Football United. Queen's Park Rangers 5th in the league. Nothing really to play for. Kent Football United already down. And in Division 1 South West, we've spoken about this already. Bournemouth playing Chesham, knowing they have to win. Larkwell Athletic against Maidenhead United as both teams go towards the end of their season. That's the final game for Maidenhead United. Poole Town against Exeter City and Southampton Women against Swindon Town. A must-win game for Southampton Women if they want a shot at that Division 1 South West title. And that covers everything in the 3rd and 4th tiers of women's football for this week. Thank you very much for joining me. As I said throughout the show, you have your comments and opinions about who you think is going to be in those relegation spots and who you think is going to take the titles across the leagues. Leave them in the comments down below or on Twitter. It's at Chris_Gadsby. Would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you very much for joining me this week on the Women's Football Chat. I'll be back next Tuesday at 6 p.m, bringing you all of the very latest and seeing what those results from this weekend mean for the 6 divisions that we cover here on this show. Keep supporting your local women's football team. Thank you very much for watching and goodbye.